Hey, welcome to this Freaky Friday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We're coming today, as we do every single day, noon to 2 Eastern, Monday to Friday from the Question Tequila Studios. We're in the Newsmax Liquid Lunch Outpost downtown on Broadway. Whopper of a Freaky Friday show for you today. Before getting into that, I'd like to take a look at the markets down. The Dow today is a little bit down. The Dow Jones Industrial Average may be having a little bit of a hangover after a quite remarkable week of new high after new high. You know, I've been talking about it frequently, that 29,000 is the new high that we want to close above. A close on a Friday above 29,000 brings 30,000 into sights. Over the weekend, people are looking at their portfolios. It's the new year. They haven't redeployed cash. Sometime in January, February, if the geopolitical fears out there with Iran and others are at rest, I see this market well above $30,000. But remember, do not take any financial advice from me. Check it out yourself, educate yourself, make yourself aware of it. But the market, to me, is in good hands. I'd like to see it bounce today and close above 29,000. It'll be a great January indeed. Bitcoin is still range-bound in that $7,500 range. I've been getting a lot of emails from people that when I'm not giving them enough insights on crypto, you got to email me and subscribe to the, you have to subscribe to the Monday Morning Quarterback, my weekly newsletter, and I'll give you a detailed description of what I think is going on. It's free, and you can get it every single Monday by emailing me. My email address is right there below me. Right to my side, where he always is, my managing editor and co-host, Frank Moreno, joins me.
Hi, hello, Frankie. John.
How are you today?
Happy Friday, TGIF. Thank God
goodness.
It's Frank Moreno.
That is... So what's going on out there, Frank? So much in the news. The Weinstein trial continues.
What isn't going on? That would be a shorter list. Let's begin with the breaking news that we're seeing out of Washington. I don't believe that this has been reported on Newsmax yet, but just breaking within the last few minutes, apparently Nancy Pelosi has just informed her conference that she is going to be transmitting the articles of impeachment to the United States Senate next week. So after a little bit of a delay, finally the U.S. Senate will have these articles of impeachment. They'll get to determine the methodology of a trial. They'll have a trial, and presumably they'll vote, and barring any major surprises, they'll vote to acquit the president, at least vote not to remove him, and then we can move on, hopefully, with the business of running the country.
That would be fantastic. I know we spoke about this before, Frankie, but the Republicans are completely in control. This should be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. They get the articles, they look them over, they make a motion for a dismissal, dismiss the whole thing, let Schiff and Nancy and everyone else reopen it, subpoena Bolton. Let's see if they want to impeach him again before the 2020 election. To me right now, he's like, you know, the Teflon Donald. They have investigated him every which way till Sunday and still nothing, and the Republicans should make sure of that. If the Democrats want to fight about it, cry about it, go to the judicial branch and go there. Ultimately, the Republicans have the Supreme Court also. So I think they're wasting a lot of time, money, and it's all folly. And I think they're really going to hurt themselves.
Well, we shall see. The other piece of breaking news are unveiling additional sanctions against Iran. This time, there's a new round of sanctions that targets a broad swath of the country's economy and a group of senior officials that, according to Steve Mnuchin, he says they were involved in Tuesday's ballistic missile strike.
Okay. Well, look, we could all agree on this. Sanctions don't always work, but I would rather see at least the start of a negotiation for a diplomatic solution with you want to fire rockets, you want more sanctions, or you want to come to the table. We know Trump always tries to set the bar high. That's like his negotiating style. Maybe some of these sanctions are at least an olive branch to start a discussion, and it might be, you know, another keen piece of business entrepreneurship in getting to a diplomatic. But frankly, he could have easily done what Donald Trump always does and doubled down again and say, oh, you sent 12 rockets and you shot down a commercial airliner, and he could have hit 4 oil fields, which would have been impulsive, emotional, and probably not made most of America happy. So I think sanctions is, to me, a good alternative.
All right.
I'm
Well,
not mad about it.
We'll see where it goes. I hope we can chat about that a little bit more throughout the show, because my fear is that this will only embolden the hardliners in Iran, who are already emboldened by the failure of the Iranian nuclear deal. But in the meantime, John, the whole world, literally, except in this studio, is talking about Megxit. Yes, that's right. The fact that Prince Harry of the royal family and his wife, Meghan Markle, an American, right? She's American. I think she's American.
I think she's Canadian.
All right. Well, whatever. She's something. She's an actress. That they have decided to play less of a role in the royal family. Now, this is the most...
We're just going to take the money.
This is the
That's
most
it.
bizarre thing.
We don't want to do anything else. We don't want to do the appearances and the tea parties and the...
This is the most bizarre thing in the world, and it is precisely what I am speaking, frankly, about.
There you go.
Totally disregarded what the royal family wanted. Basically, he didn't say that he's abdicating his crown. He didn't say that he no longer wants his role in the royal line of ascension. Nothing like that. Nothing at all. He says he's going to be playing less a role in the royal family, and that he wants to be more financially independent. He and his wife want to be more financially independent on their own. So essentially, what that amounts to is a giant press release saying that we're going to get jobs and not be wards of the state. Now, that's what the hullabaloo is about. Now, you have to wonder, why is this such big news? Well, it's because so few other people in the royal family actually do this. And you might ask, what does the royal family actually cost the taxpayers of the United Kingdom? Well, depending on the estimate, they cost, if you include security, John, they cost about £350 million per year. Per year.
It's almost $500 million.
Why? Now, you're seeing a newspaper in Australia say maybe now's a good time to end the monarchy for good. Once the Queen Mother passes on, let's kind of discontinue this insane tradition. These are people that have no power and are just giant welfare recipients. Or, and even Clive Lewis, who's a member of the Labour Party, he's saying, let's have a referendum on whether we should keep the royal family and the monarchy at all. Now, the proponents of keeping the monarchy, they always point out to the $1.5 billion in tourism that Great Britain gains because of the monarchy. They say people like to see the changing of the guard and Buckingham Palace and the crown jewels. Well, you can still see that.
Yeah, let's do all that.
Are you telling me...
Let's do all that.
Are you telling me, John, that nobody would go to Buckingham Palace if there was no queen that lived there?
Let's just make it like a Disney attraction.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Let them change the guard. Let the queen is the monarch. I mean, sounds crazy to me. $350 million just to pay him.
I am calling for a referendum.
Trump works for free, right?
I am calling for a referendum in the United Kingdom and perhaps in the Commonwealth in general about whether or not the royal monarchy should be preserved. Let's have a referendum, and then unlike Brexit, which has taken 4 years to finally get Brexited, let's actually adhere to the results of that referendum. That's a radical concept, isn't it, John?
It is quite radical, but, in this day and age, who knows? We have a president, I think he donates his salary, if I'm not incorrect.
But you know what,
he donates his salary, and I can't even imagine if him and his kids and their entourage and security was costing the U.S. taxpayer $350 million a year. They'd probably be impeaching him for that.
But
so
John,
it sounds outrageous.
You could almost understand because he was elected and he has an actual job. He didn't inherit his position because of who his father was or his grandfather. So Clive Lewis, he said it best, and he's a Labour Party guy. He said that the people of the United Kingdom should be citizens, not subjects.
That is true.
And to have this monarchy continue to, again, with no power, be subjected to all this fanfare, all this hullabaloo, it reinforces the notion of the Middle Ages and of feudalism that certain people are better than others just because of who their parents are. That's precisely what we need to get away from. We need a meritocracy, not more hereditary elitism.
You're right on the money, Frank. There's no doubt about that. We should get next week. We should get famed employment and workplace lawyer Jonathan Bell down here and talk about the equality of certain jobs only being available to those who are born into them. That might be a good topic to talk about. But, I wanted to mention before we wrapped up, and we got a big show in front of us, Raynard Jackson and Beth DeFalco are going to be here right after this to mix it up on the topics of the day. Vera Gibbons is also with us. We're going to talk about all the great stuff happening in the news. MJ Gottlieb, Nate Bradley's going to be here a little later to talk to you about your data. Huge show. But sometimes under the radar and all this stuff, Frankie boy, when you're hearing about the bombs, and now there's some evidence that maybe this jetliner was shot down accidentally by a bomb that was supposed to be. Some things go like under the rug a little bit. In the Jeffrey Epstein trial,
oh boy,
in the Jeffrey Epstein caper, the ongoing conspiracy theory of mine that he did not kill himself. It was reported yesterday that from when he tried to commit suicide like a month before he actually supposedly committed suicide, the tapes of the hallway outside of his cell were accidentally destroyed. They were destroyed. And they thought they destroyed some from another floor. So there's no tape of him actually committing suicide. And the tapes from the day that he attempted to commit suicide, allegedly, those tapes have been destroyed. And it just gets more and more sickening to me when we see Andrew McCabe admit that he lied to the FBI and led his own team on a goose chase. No charges. Now we have more evidence in the Epstein case destroyed. Still nothing heard there. Lisa Page and Peter Strzok destroyed their phones after Mueller investigation. More destroyed evidence. Hillary Clinton smashed phones with a hammer. Why does it continue to be okay for there to be two parts of our judicial system where the people in power can destroy evidence with impunity and regular people are getting literally hammered for this stuff every day?
I don't have an answer for you.
It keeps piling up, Frankie.
I don't have an answer for you. I completely agree.
All right. Well, we're going to keep all these little conspiracy theories going and debunk the debunkers anytime we can. We're going to have my favorite segment of the day right after this for a Freaky Friday kickoff. We're going to mix it up. Democrat, Republican topics of the day. I throw out the topics. Sit back. At the end, we shake hands and part friends. Take a quick break. Don't go anymore. We'll mix it up right after this.